memory of the Declaration of Independence was impressive. And I was hoping that everybody was listening carefully. I was, because during that recitation, he mentioned the grievances. He mentioned why it was written. And one of those grievances was that they would do away with the court. Now this morning, I checked the email on the way up here, and the news popped up that Obama has already instituted an appeal of the federal court's decision on Thursday about the indefinite detention. The detention that's been put in there by the National Defense Authorization Act. The court said this is unconstitutional, and Obama's going to fight it. So those are the situations that call for activism, that call for becoming fired up about these things. The definition of activist or activism is to promote change. It's somebody or something that promotes some change. And what do we want to change? If we want to put all this whole day into one sentence, what we want to do is we want to promote our government back to our Constitution. We want to push it that way. Now, the word activism, it has some edginess to it, doesn't it? There's a little bit of radicalness to the word. And that's a good thing. And it gets us fired up. But let me tell you what, there's a video on the internet that I've watched multiple times. And it's a video of a lecture being given to law enforcement officers. And I suspect that the person giving the lecture didn't realize that somebody was in the back of the room, like Evan is with the camera right now, videoing the lecture. And in this lecture, the lecturer says, he lists off the things that need to be monitored or watched. And in it, he says, quotes, anyone who repeatedly mentions the Constitution is suspect and deserves being watched. Now, that's a pretty sad commentary about our current state of affairs. And I suppose today there are going to be lots of potential bad guys among us because we're going to say the Constitution a bunch of times.
There you go.
We're not going to be passive. Activism is the opposite of passism. We're not going to sit here and let this stuff happen to us without a reasonable, peaceful fight.
Right.
Now, as Lee said, we're preaching to the choir. We're all pretty much activists here to one degree or another, but I think we can raise our game just a little. And there may be something that somebody hears today that fires them up, that takes them up to the next level. Now, I'm new to y'all, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to confess now. I'm new to politics. I'm completely new to it. 5 years ago, I didn't know what congressional district I lived in. I didn't know Gresham from Graham. I didn't have a clue. I was busy with my life. I was busy with my family, my medical practice, hobbies, etc., etc. Just like so many people that are driving around here today. Busy. And at best, I can be described as apathetic. But something happened. And what was that? I heard a gentleman speak in Columbia, 80 miles down the road, at the Koger Center. He was in a debate. He was in the Republican debate. It was the beginning of 2007. And that gentleman stood up behind the podium there he was at with the 8 other candidates, and he introduced himself as the champion of the Constitution. And I thought, not knowing anything about him, I thought, well, that's kind of a quirky thing to say, but he got my attention. And it doesn't take long to get on Google nowadays and research things, and the more I read and the more I listened to, I said, good night, this guy's got it right. And he talks about the Constitution all the time, and he really is the champion. That was 2007. And that changed my life. I went from completely apathetic to totally in. Yeah. And I thought, heck, if he can do it, I can do it too. And I jumped into a political race. Yeah. which I probably had no business being in, but Gresham Barrett wasn't running again, and there was an open seat in the 3rd Congressional District. I thought, heck, Ron Paul could do it, so could Mike Vasovski. So I jumped in and finished dead last in a 6-man race. But having done that, I learned a lot, and I made a lot of connections, and it fed my interest and passion on the things that we're doing. Now, that culminated with this year being able to serve as Ron Paul's state campaign chairman and being elected a delegate to the Tampa Convention from our 2nd convention district. And I went down there, I participated in the activities, and I did cast my one vote for Ron Paul. And once that was done, I decided it was time to get behind the nominee. And that's where I am now. I haven't abandoned the things that I believed in with Ron Paul, but now it's time to get behind the Republican nominee and work that. And I did it in 2008. I went to the state fair and stood with the chairman of the Aiken County Republican Party, Dennis Saylor, and we were at the state fair or the county fair, and we handed out McCain things, and this fall we're going to do it for Romney. Now, if you become more active, more of an activist than you are now, you got choices. You can go the two-party thing, which I've committed to doing now, stick with the Republican Party, or you can do something else. You can go third party. You can run for office. I don't regret for 1 minute having done what I did. I got to know people. I got to know Rex Rice. Rex Rice is one of the candidates that Republican Liberty Caucus over there has on their endorsed list. And I got to know Jeff Duncan, the guy that won the race. And now, if there's something of concern, I can pull out the little card, write a note, zip it off to his office in Lawrence, and I get an answer. So being involved and having run paid off in that regard. Now, if you're not going to run yourself, then get behind somebody. Find a candidate who turns you on, who makes you feel like you want to do everything possible for that candidate. Get to know them. Let them get to know you. They need door knocking. They need people calling. They need people asking for funds. There need to be fundraisers. People have different skills and different talents. If you can operate a video camera, go to that candidate's speeches, take the speech, get it on YouTube for them. If you take pictures, I like to take pictures. I take pictures of all these events. I get them on YouTube. I get them on Flickr to help promote the people I support. Throw yourself into it. Throw yourself into it. I can't tell you what it was like to hear Ron Paul after the thing started going, and feeling your throat choke up and your eyes water up when you feel so passionate and so committed to the ideas. And I want to feel like that again about somebody else. And I'm working on somebody, and we're going to do it. Thank you all for coming, and thank everybody for putting this together.